And it's currently half-time 1-1 between Hume City and Northcote. But we're underway here at Knights Stadium. And the Knights, if you're streaming in wherever you are worldwide, in their traditional red shirts, Green Gully in their green and yellow stripes too. Two big clubs from Melbourne's northwestern suburbs. And uncannily finding themselves in the bottom half of the table. Green Gully, very proud and rich in history. So too the Melbourne Knights, whether that be at a local or national level.
And I think, although they say the league table doesn't lie, both teams have they've just lost out on a little bit of luck this season. It's not that they've been playing terrible football by comparison to those at the top of the table, but they're just not taking their chances, and it'll cost you at this level.
It's so crucial that either of these clubs collect maximum points to get their season back on track, and it's one of the most even Victorian Premier League years that I can certainly remember, Liam. There's such a logjam even between the Melbourne Knights through to Hume City, who's currently in second position. Only 8 points separating third last from second. So 3 points can really get your season back on track.
Yes, Simon, as we see Groenewald on the ball here, you're looking, those, especially that 3 points Green Gully missed out on last week. And again, all the close games, the Knights have dropped to 3 points in. Again, one or two of those games, and they're sitting in finals contention.
Magdic, some experience there. Ollerton and Magdic combining. The target, Robinson. Sanders, intercepted by Bran. The Knights looking to press forward for the first time. Not to be. The Knights certainly missing a few stars. Dubois, Tommy Ples. Two of their better players this season missing from their starting 11.
I think they're going to be looking at Kevin Townson as their top scorer for the season, and only one off the golden boot at the moment. You'll be looking to him to try and finish another couple of goals today.
Kevin Townson, what a find he's been from the lower leagues. Slotted in and made the transition to Victorian Premier League football perfectly. Vargas. Ollerton has Robinson forward. Doing the defending there. Bran will combine with Zahra. Challenge coming from Ollerton. Played on is the order. Robinson not the best of passes. Munoz was wide. And targets there inside the box. Robinson letting himself down.
Neither team giving away too much at the early stages. To be looking to feel it out for the first couple of minutes.
First couple of minutes, ironically, it is played here at Knights Stadium. The crowd, small one, but it's continuing to stream in. A few pre-match functions in the Knights Centre at the back of the Mark Viduka Stadium. Speaking of Mark Viduka, he'll be making a presence in the 94-95 championship team too, which is great to see. Maybe donning the boots for the first time since leaving Newcastle United in the English Premier League 2 seasons ago. Sanders didn't keep it alive. Loncaric's ball again. And the home supporters, as you can hear from our effects mic, getting the Knights settled in. So much to play for the Knights, not just for their season, but the importance of this weekend. A rich and proud club. And there's plenty of superstars. 2 championship winning teams, and that championship winning team from 1995, in my opinion, one of the best teams ever assembled in Australian club football, and the bulk of them present here this afternoon, watching proceedings in the Mark Viduka Lounge. Magdic down the line. Bran's height prevailing again. Zahra. It's a poor pass to intercepted by Groenewald. He can finish from here too. Now, he either miscued that or getting a touch was Liam Cannell. But nevertheless, it did its job for defending there for the Knights. Now turning defence into attack. The run here of Colosimo. Ollerton there. Just clear over touch.
And Cannell getting in just in time on that Groenewald shot. We've seen what he did against Dandy Thunder with a shot that looked so far away from Webster's goal and end up having to just touch it over.
To be relieved, Adrian Zahra too. Miscued the pass. The first shot on target for the afternoon. Straight into the arms of Nikola Roganovic. Fired in there from Gazmend Ajdini. Not enough power to trouble Nikola Roganovic, the former Frankston Pine and Altona Magic keeper. Now with Green Gully in his first season. And he started off as reserve keeper. It was Kyriakos Geroristou, the number 1 gloveman. But Roganovic has come in the last 4 to 5 weeks and kept Geroristou out. Cannell. Can't get in, no assistance there. Groenewald coughed it up too easily. Magdic. Here's a chance for Zahra. Miscommunication there between Zahra and Townson.
Yeah, I think they're just they're not quite sure of how they're structured going forward at the moment.
Fleming, what a stalwart he's been for Gully over the years, wearing the captain's armband this afternoon. Played wide. Munoz. This looks promising for the Cavaliers. Vargas. His cross. Cut off by Surey. Cleared by Colosimo. You'd expect better from a player of Andy Vargas' talent.
And you see they've pushed out to the right wing and probably tried for that low hard cross in. Didn't quite get what we needed from that. But again, they're threatening, and it's probably been more towards Loncaric's goal than it has been Roganovic.
Just under 10 minutes played here at Knights Stadium. It's 0-0 in this round 11 Victorian Premier League clash between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers. Either goalkeeper threatened to date. Very few chances created. Fleming. Groenewald. Opted to go solo. No assistance there. Cut off by Skara.
There's 4 players around Groenewald as soon as he got the ball. Whether it was by chance or on purpose, they're not giving him any room whatsoever.
Townson. Can he weave his way through Ollerton? And Ollerton, the experience showed, cutting that off. Townson just apologising there up front to Ajdini. Sanders. An open game, but it hasn't translated into many chances on goal. Only one Ajdini with the scissor kick. Straight to Roganovic. Sanders down the line. It's a good ball too, freeing up Munoz. A great chance here for the Cavaliers to break this deadlock. Whipped in by Munoz. Draws the corner. Had Robinson there on the far post.
And Sanders, fantastic spot there of the overlapping run by Munoz, which he's very good at. And he tries to get it in, but I think that was Antony Bran there just getting his left foot in the way and stopping the cross coming in. But it just goes to show the danger of Munoz down that right hand side on the overlapping run. He's got the athletic ability to get up and down that wing all day long.
There's a great assist there from Sanders, feeding it there to Munoz. As you saw on the replay, Robinson there. Just pointing out to Munoz, he was free there on the back post. Vargas, a corner specialist for the Cavaliers. And it's the first for the Cavaliers this afternoon. An infringement spotted.
I'm not too sure, that's possibly a push in the back there, but we'll have a look on the replay as Vargas flights the corner in. And possibly just a knock to the head from Fleming there. Not a lot in it, and good to see the Knights defender not making too much of it.
And it's 0-0 to date after 10 minutes here at Knights Stadium. And in other games, for your information, which you can track on the Victorian Premier League page on Facebook. It's 50 minutes played at Broadmeadows Valley Park between Hume City and Northcote. It's 1-1 in that contest. And so too at Paisley Park between the champions, the Altona Magic, and league leaders, Oakley Cannons. It's 0-0. And South Melbourne currently leading the Sunshine Georgies by a goal to 0. And for your information, the later kick-off this evening is at Olympic Village, 5 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time, between Heidelberg United and the Dandenong Thunder. Townson coughs up possession again. Ollerton, not much space being provided by the Knights. Fleming. Vargas can transfer. Daniel Jones keeping Cameron Drake out of the starting 11. The former Heidelberg United defender, now in a Green Gully shirt this season. There's a raffle here, Medjedovic, too deep here for Ajdini. Ollerton. Once again, too deep for Sanders, and now the Knights can capitalise on the counter. Ajdini twisting and turning, and the assistance lacking for Ajdini, and it's forced in another turnover.
Magdic looking a little bit frustrated there. He had made the run, and then he made a second run, and still never received the pass through from Ajdini.
Speaking of turnovers, Surey, perfect tackle, dispossessing Vargas, but now possession again back with the Cavaliers. Fleming. Burton. Forced to use Roganovic, pressure there from Magdic.
Well, how different is this game from Monday night's game between Sunshine and Dandenong? That was a very slow fixture with both teams just happy to sit on the ball, and both teams happy to let each other sit on the ball. Here, no one's getting half a second to think about it before being put under a lot of pressure, whether up forward or at the back.
Very open game today, plenty of pressure, just hasn't translated into any decent opportunity on goal. Going in there, Fleming, with time to recover Skara. Here's Rocco. The Knights eventually bringing it out of their half, and it's a good flick on two, cutting it in. Zahra. Smart play this from the Knights. Cannell has targets in the box, and he wanted Townson not to be swept clear by Ollerton.
And I think it's a really important battle on this broadcast side between Cannell and Groenewald, and I think Cannell's probably just got the best of it. The cross not too fantastic there, but
it's the final touch in the third, letting both teams down. Crosses haven't found targets in the box, but a chance here for Townson. Ajdini. This time, assistance through Surey. Was that a handball from Jones? A few shouts from the crowd. Referee play on. Skara to take the throw. Rocco. Here's Bran. Skara forced back two. Space of premium, as you mentioned, in midfield, Liam.
Yeah, it is, and I think you can notice how little of impact the likes of Groenewald and Vargas have actually had in this game. Usually they're the two type that will be creative and actually send the passes forward, but they're not having 2 seconds of their own time to try and pick that pass.
Roganovic to recommence proceedings for the Cavaliers. And Bran been all over Sanders this game, but an opening here, it should be Loncaric and is before Robinson can swoop.
And again, route one there, Roganovic just popping it forward. And I think Fleming winning the header as you see there, but Loncaric just out nice and quick. And that'll be a bit of confidence builder for the defence. think in such a tight game, you're going to be looking to the players like Adrian Zahra in the middle, who's got that quick footwork and got the pace. You're going to be looking to them to create that bit of time that Green Gully aren't allowing them.
Green Gully certainly sitting back on the ball. Flat for Burton, making life difficult there for Magdic. Here he is again. Combining with Sanders, but the ball not kept alive. Cannell. And the match started with plenty of intensity and plenty of speed. It just dropped down a notch in the opening 15 minutes. Vargas dispossessing Gujini. Here's Medjedovic. Don't know whether that was intentional, but it found Vargas, and he's fouled in the process. No, rather not. Well, there was some intervention there from the referee, but not to be as play continues. Magdic through. No assistance up front. Plenty of green and white shirts back. One of them was Jones. Fleming. Lackluster there from Fleming. Had time and support, but continued to hold it, and Green Gully out of trouble. Looking to split that through for Groenewald was Vargas, but here's Burton, the defender. Trying to start an attack here. Fleming. Approaching the 20th minute mark here in the first half. It's 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers. Groenewald, the flag down. The ball whipped in.
And I'm not too sure from Groenewald if this was a cross or an attempt to catch Loncaric off guard. But he did find a bit of space. Cannell just caught flat-footed. But Loncaric happy to watch that sail over the crossbar.
Definitely looked more like the latter, trying to catch Loncaric off guard. Joshua Groenewald. Currently in the Melbourne Hearts squad. And scored in the Hearts debut match, practice match against the Whittlesea Zebras. Jones working it forward again. Sanders with a rare piece of space. Been closely tagged by Bran all afternoon. Burton. This time will a cross find its target? No, straight into the arms of Loncaric.
And again, as you've said a couple of times now, Simon, that ball in the final third, it's just not finding anyone. There's no room, and the quality of the pass as well isn't making it any easier on the attackers.
Great back heel there, Sanders. Freed Munoz on the inside. Surey. Regain possession back. What can he do? Was he obstructed? Referee disagrees. And smart refereeing there. There was no advantage. And credit there to Ben Surey. Started the play and now a chance to finish it.
Yeah, he made himself a bit of space in there. And I think, yeah, as you said, smart refereeing. There was no advantage there, and he's brought it back for the Knights. And it's not outside range. It's definitely within range of making Roganovic work for it.
Kevin Townson has scored from these positions. Probably 5 yards a bit further for his liking, but has the ability to finish from here. Townson through the wall, but not through Roganovic.
Nah, the placement and the power probably neither good enough there for beating Roganovic. Went straight into his hands, and with no power at all, as we see him just tries to get it up and round the wall. On target, but never going to beat Roganovic.
And from one end to the other, Roganovic straight to Loncaric. Surey again. Made that look easy. Wasn't the best of throws there from Loncaric. Townson. And this time the flag down. It's a great ball through. Ajdini narrowing the angle there. Jones. Now Green Gully come back in numbers. And good defending there from Daniel Jones just when it looked like Ajdini was through.
Yeah, fantastic ball to let Ajdini get through here. But Daniel Jones just forced them out to the corner. And basically taking the threat away and giving the Gully boys enough time to get the numbers back.
Medjedovic This time clearing a corner for the Knights. After 20 minutes here at Knights Stadium, 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and Green Gully. Liam Cannell to take the corner. Cannell. Roganovic will call for it. Dropped, but assistance there through Fleming. Sigh of relief there for Roganovic. Sanders can hit with pace on the counter. Zahra surely fouled Sanders. The referee agrees.
He's done very well to draw the foul there, Sanders. He knew he was on his own and didn't have too many options, so he just got his body in between the ball and the defender there, and he's done exactly what his manager would have wanted. Just take that pressure off and put the pressure straight back on Knights.
And it was instinctive too, with the clearance there from Fleming. Able to catch Sanders, the only man in the Knights half. Groenewald on the turn. Did all the hard work.
I think anyone else expected him to keep that in, so no one putting pressure on Loncaric.
Magdic, formerly of the Perth Glory, now with the Melbourne Knights this season. Josip Magdic. Rocco. Transfer on for the Knights. Bran keeping that alive. Colosimo somehow. And through two as well. Did well combining here with Townson. His cross. Burton's height prevailing. Incoming shot there. Right intent, but not finding the target. Gazmend Ajdini.
Yeah, that shot there, I think he'll maybe score 1 in 100 of them in his life. Coming straight out on the volley. Never going to trouble Roganovic there.
And very briefly, just some further updates for you from other grounds. If you're watching the stream online but don't have access or have your Facebook page opened, it's currently 1-1 between Hume City and Northcote City after 62 minutes. 0-0 between the Magic and the Oakley Cannons, and South Melbourne still fending off the Sunshine Georgies, 0-0. No change in that scoreline since half-time. And here at Knights Stadium, 22 minutes played, and it's still 0-0 between the Knights and the Cavaliers. Townsend's cross, and it was a better one too. This time would have found Magdic, but spoiling the party there, Steve Burton.
Steve Burton read that cross very well. There was possibly a case for a free kick for the Knights out on the left wing, but as Townsend floats that in, and that's a perfect ball. That's what Magdic will be looking to get a bit more of, but hopefully maybe just get his body in front of Burton.
Another corner for the Knights, and flicked across goal. Roganovic missed it. It came off Bran.
As we see, they've went for the floater at the front post and just trying to knock it towards that back post, but probably didn't get enough on it. It's just let it skim off the top of his head and go out for the goal kick. Good pressure by the Gully defence though, certainly wasn't a free header.
Well, he's had his Bran and everything else for breakfast there, because he is on fire. Anthony Bran. A good low GI breakfast. And it's translating into results on the pitch, Liam.
Yeah, the pace this game is going as well. If it's going to keep up the pace the 90 minutes, he's going to need all that energy, Simon.
Magdic. Fleming prevailing with the header. Rocco. Surey. The best of transfers, but having time there. Or Skara. He's that man again, Bran. Putting Skara spot of bother, and getting clipped there by Jeffrey Fleming.
And again, just those quick feet that we mentioned. He's miscontrolled it, but the quick feet to try and turn, and I think just a bit too quick for Jeffrey Fleming. As they go for the long free kick to the left hand side, finding Townson. but unable to connect and find anyone in the box, just going straight through to Roganovic.
And remarkably, both keepers have been busy, but really haven't had a shot on target to save. Plenty of cross and assists coming from the air for both Roganovic and Loncaric. Approaching the half-hour mark here at Knights Stadium. It's 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers, and it's a vital game for both of these teams to win, finding themselves in the bottom four of the table as the Knights surge forward. Ollerton, Medjedovic couldn't clear. Pressure from the Knights. Munoz playing it down the line. And it will be a Cavaliers throw. Ironically there, in front of Ian Dobson. Medjedovic. Munoz with a task to keep this one alive and does so. Surey. And what a through ball too. It will hold up nicely for Townson. The cross coming in. Unable to control it. Ajdini. That would have been interesting. Great play there. Surey and Townson combining. And it was nearly finished for the Knights. Jones. Green Gully in a spot of bother. Looking to turn defence into attack. Vargas has been quiet in the opening half hour.
I think you've just seen there exactly what they've been trying to do is get that ball out to Townsend on the left wing. He's got a dangerous cross on him, and they'll be looking to work it out there 3 or 4 times already, and that one was within inches of being the perfect cross. So Gully will be very smart to close down Townsend.
Burton looking for targets. This time Robinson. Sanders lays it off for Burton. That would have found its target. Bar Skara in the way for the Knights. He'll have a bruise to show for that tomorrow morning.
And Sanders just doing enough to lay it off there, but and that was Thomas Skara just getting in the way.
Townson been very influential for the Knights thus far. Pulling the trigger, but not troubling Roganovic. There's Adrian Zahra. Roganovic. His target's Munoz, who in turn couldn't find one himself. Cleared by Rocco. Surey. Back with Jones. Jones had options on his left, wanted Sanders in midfield. And some decision making questionable for both teams this afternoon. Cannell. Surey. Another weighted pass. It sits well here too for Magdic. Townson. Will it sit for him? It does. Flicking it out. Charge down the shot from Colosimo, but this time it came in again. It got a touch off a Cavalier shirt, and it will be a corner.
You see there Townsend again in the middle of it, as Colosimo has a one bite at the cherry, and the second bite again just the deflection.
Speaking of potential goals, while we've had 2 in the space of a couple of minutes at Paisley Park, and it's the league leaders, the Cannons, leading the champions, the Magdic, by 2-0, and that's just on 70 minutes. It's this man again, Townson, a corner for the Knights, flicked away. Cleared by Sanders. Rocco will send it back in. Sea of players on the edge of the box. And once again, the wrong option, this time from the captain, Daniel Rocco. Zahra thought it was his ball. Assistant disagrees, and I think it was the correct decision too there from the assistant.
Very noticeably from that corner as well, Simon, there was absolutely no one even anywhere remotely near the halfway line for Green Gully. They had all 11 players inside the penalty area defending that corner.
Burton, a great 1-2. This time he's cross. Couldn't find Sanders on the inside.
And worked it very well from the throw-in. Inside and out twice. And again the cross, again that final ball.
It's letting both teams down to date, no doubt about that. Great build up there from Burton. The 1-2. Sanders was the lone target. Here's Sanders. Flicked across goal. Zahra cleared. Jones. Down the line. Sanders won't chase that. And more goals in other Victorian Premier League games. This time South Melbourne doubling their lead, leading the Georgies by 2-0. And that match 2 on the 70th minute mark. And it's a Jerry Carpe double, as we've been advised, for the Oakley Cannons. Groenewald dispossessed.
And not getting an inch of space here at Knight Stadium, Josh Groenewald. They obviously know how dangerous he is, but again, 2 or 3 defenders every time he touches the ball.
Particularly on he and Andy Vargas too. As you mentioned prior, Lamb. 2 targets. The assistant manager, who's now manager this afternoon, Paul Magdic, just keeping a close eye on space of premium for those 2. Skara. Rocco. And once again, his disposal letting him down.
Rocco's distribution has been, shall we say, questionable in the last 10-15 minutes. 3 or 4 times he's just given it straight to a green jersey.
Both of these teams with just over 10 minutes remaining to break this stalemate and take an advantage into the half-time break. It's currently 0-0. As we approach the 35th minute mark here at Knight Stadium. In fact, Zahra. And this time a good ball into space, freeing up Cannell. His cross, it looked to be pinpointed. Ajdini, one of the best crosses for the game, this time intercepted. It looked again to be Steve Burton doing his job.
As we see Cannell.
And the replay, as it was on the screen, an incoming shot from the Knights. It was stopped by Roganovic. It was a good piece of goalkeeping, definitely the best chance for the game. And it was Ajdini firing in, denied by Roganovic. Cannell's corner. Fleming combining with Sanders. Content to have the throw, Cannell.
See, Knights just starting to put on the pressure in this last 10 minutes of the half. Obviously their home game, they want to go in at half time in the lead. But Roganovic had all things to say about that one.
Roganovic, as you mentioned prior, keeping Gero Ristodolo as the reserves, or as the substitute goalkeeper rather. Definitely a talented keeper, Nikola Roganovic. And a bright future ahead, whether it be in the Victorian Premier League or leagues higher, both here or abroad. Ollerton. And dangerous challenge there from Surey, collecting Burton.
I think Burton's lucky it's his leg that copped it and not his head. Looked like a very high boot at first, but copped it on the way down. Looks to be in a bit of strife at the moment. And Roganovic just politely explaining to the referee that looked a bit painful.
Definitely painful, but definitely unintentional too. Both players there, Surey and Burton, looking to collect the ball. The referee was on the spot.
So there's no serious damage there, Simon. Hopefully maybe just a bit of a bruise.
And as Steve Burton collects some, or receives some medical treatment, more news from other stadiums, and South Melbourne's lead has been cut by the Georgies. And as the Sunshine Georgies now trailing South Melbourne by 2-1. Steve Burton getting up. He's certainly in a spot of bother. Pretty much the only stoppage for the first half. What looked like it was going to be pretty much a 45-minute half. Will definitely be extended by a couple of minutes. Roganovic will restart play. 10 minutes remaining in this first half. And just a reminder that at the halftime interval, we will be interviewing former Melbourne Knight, Leicester City, Manchester City, and Socceroo great Danny Tiardo at halftime. And back with the Melbourne Knights for the championship reunion match this evening, coupled with the remainder of the season with the Knights in the Victorian Premier League, which is a great coup for the club and for Victorian football.
Yeah, Simon, it's good to have great players coming back and playing in the league, get a few more bums on seats and increase the quality of football.
Well, there's no doubt that when the Knights played Heidelberg earlier this season, Danny Tiardo had an absolute ripping game in midfield in his debut. Both he and John Dubois caused havoc, and it was no coincidence that when Ivan Duzel took them both off around the 70th minute mark of that game, Heidelberg were able to etch their way into that contest, score 2 late goals and snatch a point and a late draw here at Knight Stadium. He'll definitely be an asset, no doubt about that, in midfield for the Melbourne Knights. And another goal from the Oakley Cannons at Paisley Park. It's becoming a whitewash for the Cannons. 78 minutes, Altona Magic 0, Oakley 3. But here at Knight Stadium, it's 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers. Best chance of the game, definitely Ajdini's strike, which is denied by Roganovic. But other than that, a game of too many chances.
Yeah, Simon, I think the one thing both coaches will be saying is have a shot. Everyone looks a bit afraid to have a shot in and around the 18-yard box.
And maybe adhering those instructions from Lee and Bentley there. It was Adrian, in fact, it was Antony Colosimo. It was a great run through midfield. Cannell fairly fouled, and the assistant there had a good look at that. Rocco with his transfer. Bran finding some space. This left side, Townson. See what he was doing. He wanted that man there, Zahra. The ball sent in, Roganovic with confidence.
You're not going to beat Roganovic in the air too often.
Munoz. Cut off by Surey. Townsend again. This time the run of Colosimo. This could be the first card for the afternoon, and is. Jeffrey Fleming has a history of collecting cards.
And I don't think he's going to have too many arguments about this one, Simon. That's a terrible challenge. He's lucky to get a yellow for that. That's a terrible challenge by Jeffrey Fleming. He won't be proud of that when he looks at it again. And thankfully no damage done.
Well, we've certainly seen red cards issued for similar incidences, so he's a lucky man there. Jeffrey Fleming, the former New Zealand international. Townsend. Deep in the box, should be Roganovic's, and is. And some news from Paisley Park, that third goal scorer with not only a Jerry Carpe double, but Michael Casija with the third for the Cannons. The flag up for offside, not spotted by the referee, but nevertheless it will be a Cavaliers throw, and now the assistant The flag has been noticed. Nikola Roganovic, the great chance here to restart it. An attack for the Cavaliers. And a great chance for either the Cavaliers or the Knights to clinch the advantage before the interval. Ball played wide by Zahra. Nearly found its target in Magdic. Groenewald and the Cavaliers certainly need more from this man, and that's been the story of Groenewald's afternoon. Closely marked up, and this time Cannell to the rescue. Sanders into space. Rocco and Skara doing the defending and the clearing for the Knights. Jones. Burton. Another man who's been quiet from a Green Gully perspective, Andrew Vargas, this afternoon. Putting some pressure on Bran there. And another update, this time from Broadmeadows Valley Park. It's Hume City. They trailed early on against Northcote, but they've scored again, and this time have hit the lead for the first time this afternoon. And they currently lead Northcote by 2-1, and that match 2 in the 82nd minute. And we'll keep you posted with any additional goals and final scores from other Victorian Premier League games and venues throughout the afternoon and the course of the evening.
And a noticeably slow finish to this half, Simon, after a very hectic first 10-15 minutes. Don't know if maybe it's just taking a toll and everyone just looking forward to getting in for the half-time break, but much slower than early on in the game.
Green Gully, in particular, speaking of slow to really test Antony Loncaric much at all in this first half. Opportunities in front of goal are premium for the Cavaliers, and although this game reads it as 0-0, the Melbourne Knights have had the better of the play, but nothing to show for it on the scoreboard to date. Surey finding Townson. The transfer on, too deep for Magdic.
It's the story of the first half there. That ball, the one that looks to be the dangerous ball, and to create the opportunity, it's just either too long or misaimed.
Groenewald cutting it in. It's a good ball to Robinson. And Rocco here needs to be careful. That could have been a card too.
And Groenewald again, just the outside of the boot. Fantastic run through. And Rocco just beaten by, I think, probably the bounce of the ball. And you can see there, a few more Knights defenders just making sure the referee knew that wasn't a clear goal scoring opportunity. And the ref has given the yellow card. As such, it was a bad foul, but certainly wasn't a red card.
And it was a tactical one too. Definitely premeditated there by Rocco. Robinson would have been free, roam into the box solo. The ball's held up, and a chance here for the Knights to recollect themselves.
This is where Vargas is dangerous, Simon. He loves this area.
And that man too, next to him, Steve Burton. It's a raffle between he or Vargas. Vargas will aim for the back post. Let's see what unfolds with this set piece. The referee still not content with the wall. Andy Vargas playing it short, and a waste of a set piece there from Green Gully, particularly in the latter stages of this half. A chance here for Sanders, blocked by Loncaric and unable to hold it. Andy Vargas whipped back in by Burton. Loncaric spilt it, and I'm not happy with that, Robinson, but it will be Loncaric's ball.
As the ball comes back in here, you see Loncaric watching it, and I think that's the correct decision by the linesman. But just before that, I think Andy Vargas, had he been given more than half a second's warning, would have controlled that or even just got his foot in the right place, but it just happened to bounce off him inside the penalty area.
Very rare play from Andy Vargas. looks like he's lacking a bit of confidence. He normally backs himself from those set pieces and free kicks. And very uncanny from what a player of his standard normally brings in, week out. A chance to redeem himself here, Vargas. And looking to cut back that ball back into the runner, Munoz.
And got the nutmeg there, but the ball just ran on that extra foot too much.
And we're into stoppage time now here at Knights Stadium. 0-0. The score reads between the Melbourne Knights and the Green Gully Cavaliers. Header won by Medjedovic. Zahra. The ball sits well for him. Nearly fed it through to Ajdini. And he's had some bursting runs through midfield, Zahra. None of them yet to pay off for the Knights. Not kept alive by Groenewald.
I think rather hard done by. From our angle, that looked like the whole ball certainly wasn't out. But linesman in a much better position than you now, Simon.
And that's exactly what they're there to do. Play down the line. And it looked promising there once again for the Knights. Colosimo unable to control it.
As I've gone for that ball, again, usually it's Townson down receiving that ball, and he's probably a little more apt in being in that tight sort of space on the touchline. Colosimo not quite as handy in that area.
And stoppage time comes to a conclusion, and so too does the first half, where it's a stalemate between the Melbourne Knights and Green Gully. And Liam, it's a first half certainly characterised with few chances, but the Knights with the better of play.
The top levels in Europe, international, and then top levels again in the full circle of Australian football at the A-League as well. So it's fantastic to have him back here and to give his time for us on VPL Live TV.
And that was the most refreshing thing in that interview. He said, and as he's mentioned, he's had a stellar football career, has done it all, really has nothing back to give to the game, but particularly wants to at grassroots football level, and is really excited in playing the rest of the season here with the Melbourne Knights. And I'm sure a lot of the youngsters here will learn from his talent and experience. And if you're just tuning in and streaming into our broadcast, it's presently 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and Green Gully. And just to update you with other results from round 11 games played thus far, it all started on Friday night between Richmond and Bentley. And Richmond were triumphant over the Bentley Greens by 2-1. But this afternoon, some results just in. South Melbourne defeated the Sunshine Georgies by 3-1. And Hume City, well, they weren't able to hold on when we last checked at the 80th minute mark. Northcote snatched a goal at the death, and it's 2-2, the final score at Broadmeadows Valley Park. Magdic playing it wide. We'll go to other results in a moment. Magdic, closely checked by Jones, draws the first corner for the second half. And in the meantime, the Altona Magic, what a horrid season this is turning out for the back-to-back champions. They've lost 3-0 to the Oakley Cannons, and the Oakley Cannons will be relieved, Liam, that they've not only collected 3 points away from home, but they'll be relieved to see that Hume conceded 2 points at the death as well, so their lead will be extended on the top of the ladder. Flicked across goal by Burton. Sanders, the forward, doing the defending, and no one bar Rocco in the Knights half. Townson cutting it in. Cannell down the line. It holds up well too. Smart play there from Townson. Caught Burton off guard when he slipped. And once again, the assist into the box, just not finding the target, Liam.
And noticeably, Townson stayed out on that grandstand side. And again, just that little knock inside, bottom that 2 or 3 yards to get the ball across, but Roganovic equal to the task.
Burton. Has Fleming on the inside. Vargas, Green Gully certainly need more of Andy Vargas in the second half. Medjedovic. Munoz. Fleming. Pressure there from Surey. It's coughed it up. Ajdini. Can he make the Cavaliers pay? Jones forcing him back. And Surey couldn't find Magdic wide. Finds Munoz. And a good opening here for Robinson. And it's just breaking down. That run on the inside with Jonathan Munoz. And lackluster there. Colosimo thought he had more time, but he didn't. Pressure from Robinson. Sanders. Here's Steve Burton. And Robinson didn't know whether he or Sanders was actually going to take carriage of that football. Munoz playing it wide. Some promising play this for the Cavaliers. Groenewald on the turn. His shot charged down. One of the few times Groenewald's been unmarked in this match.
It seems to take an eternity to get to him, Simon.
Robinson. Green Gully's first corner for the half.
Well, Green Gully putting on a fair bit of pressure early in this second half. I think they've obviously known Knights have had control of the game in the first half. They'll be looking to stamp their authority early in this second half and put Knights on notice. As Vargas will whip in the corner from the left hand side.
Andy Vargas. Delicate chip, winning the header. Skara. The Knights not out of trouble yet. Now they are through Ajdini. Townson. Had two to beat. You thought there for a moment he might have done it. Surey. He's been very reliable for the Knights this afternoon. Zahra. Another one in midfield. Targets Magdic wide. He's dispossessed. Pressure from Burton. Controlling the traffic in the Knights' defence. Skara. Here's Loncaric. Townson. Skara. Dispossessed by his counterpart 12 in Sanders. Sanders with the run. Pressure from Skara. But draws the throw. Play there from Mathew Sanders.
Yeah, he's put the pressure on. And he's went down the left hand side, as you can see there. And I think that was Thomas Skara, who tried to use his weight and just basically push him off the ball. But Sanders strong enough to hold on to possession and gain a throw in a fairly dangerous area.
Zahra. And a great chance here for the Knights on the counter. Magdic, the flag stays. I thought it was going to stay down there for a moment. A fine line. Gazmend Ajdini being called up. Magdic thought he was through.
And I think 2 or 3 yards offside there. As Roganovic takes the free kick and looks to launch another attack.
And it's amazing what the replay does. It looked fine there on the naked eye there, Liam. And there's a big blemish on my face because there was definitely a couple of yards in that. Ajdini certainly offside. Once again, the assistants on the mark all evening. Refereeing It's been spot on to date in this contest. Townson. Right intention. Delivery not the best. Colosimo. The Knights and Green Gully looking to break this deadlock. 55 minutes played at Knight Stadium. It's 0-0 in this round 11 contest. Skara. A lack of pressure there from the Green Gully forwards, but it will be a Knight's throw.
As it looks like a double substitution here for Green Gully Cavaliers.
Looks like Gary Wales and also Graham Hockless coming on. It'll be Josh Groenewald and also Nicholas Robinson to come off. So attack is the form of Paul Harris's strategy in this second half.
Yeah, but I think also credit must go to Liam Cannell for holding Josh Groenewald to have, well, basically to have as little influence on the game as he has. Groenewald's not the type of player you take off when you're looking to win a game unless he's really not getting much of the ball. And thanks to Cannell and everyone else out right on that right hand side, he's not had too much possession and not really had to create, so they'll now be looking to the likes of Graham Hockless to feed the ball through for Gary Wales, and Sanders up front as well.
And also credit to Ben Surey as well. He's done his job in central midfield. That's who Hockless goes on immediately. Possible foul, the referee agrees. Rocco opts to go long, too long for Ajdini. Rocco kept it alive. Burton. Pressure from Ajdini. Burton somehow found Munoz. Stroke of luck, but it was effective. And now Hockless getting his first touch for the evening. He couldn't find his dual substitute there in Gary Wales, putting him on the spot. The easiest of passes there to control.
It's been the same thing for the duration of the match, Simon. It's been a lot of lacklustre passing and just not finding the final ball, and it's getting very frustrating for both managers, I would imagine.
Keeping it alive, a good run, nearly beating two. Ajdini. Here's Munoz. That's where Green Gully seemed to break down. Bring the ball out of their own half with ease. It's the final third where the trouble looms.
And again, it's getting very frustrating at this level, like to see this many passes just go astray. Just either not staying in or basically going straight to a defender. Like I say, I can only imagine it must be very frustrating for Harris and Magdic on the bench.
Ollerton. Jones has found Mark Viduka in the Mark Viduka lounge with that ball. Wales. Vargas. Fleming. Down the space on the inside. Yet again, the Knights making life difficult for Green Gully to squeeze that ball through midfield. This man has been effective, Surey. Pressure from Vargas. Burton. Couldn't find Wales. Skara there. Bran. Combines with Colosimo. And the intensity in this match just dropping a notch. Liam, the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, Simon, it's again probably lacklustre is the word I'd describe. The intensity's dropped, the speed's dropped, and generally the overall quality of the passing's dropped as well. Which is not a formula for a fantastic night's football.
Sanders. Collision there between Rocco and the new substitute Wales. And luckily Wales is okay. Colosimo can nearly finish from here. And maybe could have taken a few strides towards the box.
I think maybe either his legs couldn't carry him for that much at that pace, or he's backed himself a little bit higher than he should have. But again, at least he's having a shot, and I think that's what Paul Magdic would have been telling him to do. He's finding himself in that area quite often, but really not taking the shots, so good on him for having a crack.
And they've been few and far between. Ajdini, the closest to breaking this deadlock, and it remains a deadlock courtesy of a fine save from Nikola Roganovic as the Knights string forward again. This time, Adrian Zahra.
And Zahra just using that pace he's got, as he's been overlapping run there from Ajdini, and he just spotted Roganovic just off his line and tried to put it just a little bit past him, but unfortunately not able to get it past Roganovic, who's been solid in goals for Gully tonight.
And another update from the late game between Heidelberg United and the Dandenong Thunder and Steve Martin. No, not the actor. It's the former Whittlesea Zebra, now with Heidelberg United, gifting Heidelberg United the lead. And that'll be a crucial victory for Heidelberg. They find themselves at the foot of the table. But it's early days yet in that contest. So it's Heidelberg United 1, Dandenong Thunder 0.
And Thunder came back from 1-0 down last week as well, after that beautiful strike from Christodoulou. So you can never count them out.
Just on 60 minutes played here at Knight Stadium. 0-0 between the Melbourne Knights and Green Gully. Here's Hockless. Short to Wales, and Wales nearly found an avenue for Hockless through. And would you believe it, the moment we say Heidelberg have found the lead, 2 minutes later the Thunder have equalised, and it's 1-1 between Heidelberg and Dandenong at Olympic Village, and that's after 16 minutes. And here after 60, as we mentioned, it's 0-0 between the Knights and the Cavaliers. But a chance now for Green Gully. Graham Hockless, not Andy Vargas, to take this corner. Hockless, the best of corners, and it nearly spilt there for Andy Vargas. Crucial interception there from the Knights. Sent back in by Munoz. The flag stays down for Wales. Well defended by the Knights. Adrian Zahra. Magdic. Weaved a bit of Magdic there.
He certainly did. That was a lovely touch, just to find Surey.
Cannell. He too impressive for the Knights this evening. Burton not taking any risks. Townson. Burton. Down the line, but only a turnover. Fleming. Burton again. Wales with the turn. And the box just big enough there for Loncaric to come out.
And again, just that knock on, and Gary Wales using the pace, probably didn't have enough room there, but it just goes to show what he's probably been told to do is they're going to be looking for that ball in behind the Knights defence and trying to exploit Gary Wales' pace.
His pace certainly exploiting that, finding room on the inside. Loncaric treating the danger and hastily off his line. Cut back by Magdic. Here's Surey. Hockless forcing him back. Bran. Not much presenting itself up front, hence forced back. Rocco. Another long ball. And he's delivered a few of those that haven't found targets this evening.
It's not like him. He's usually very complete in his distribution. But again, just maybe looking for that run and not on the same wavelength as Townson or Skara, Zahra up front.
Vargas couldn't win it. Sent forward again by the Knights. Magdic nearly found Vargas. Surey. He's dictated proceedings in midfield for my liking this afternoon. He's been brilliant for the Melbourne Knights.
Very solid in possession, Simon.
What about that from Bran? Just when he looked as though the pressure was going to force a turnover. Zahra. Here's Colosimo. Bran flicking it on, nearly found Townson. Some desperate defending there from Green Gully, but it's paid off. Skara. Back to Rocco. And Rocco wanted Ajdini to break through. The ball couldn't find its target. And the Knights once again with numbers back. Loncaric. And pressure there from Mathew Sanders.
That was far from the easiest ball for Loncaric to deal with there. I think it copped a little bounce on the way through as well, and Sanders doing exactly what he should be doing and putting pressure right on Loncaric.
Hockless. Beat it. Ajdini. And once again, Liam, a similar pattern. The final balls and the touches in the third for either team are the reason why this game's a stalemate. Another ball running over the goal line.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a pattern that's repeating itself, and it's not leading to a lot of chances on goal. 2 or 3 ways that they've actually been creating chances, and I think for Knights it's been using Townson to whip that ball in for the likes of Ajdini to come on, and I think getting the ball through the middle for Wales would be the way to go for Green Gully, because as soon as they're putting it down that left hand side for the ball in behind, I don't think anyone's got the legs at this point in the match to keep up with that.
Jones wanted Wales. This man again, Surey, taking a leaf out of Danny Tiato's book.
With his haircut.
And the looks too. Definitely a lot of similarities in their game and physically too. Vargas, well, wasn't going to run it out, and we'll have the time to clear too. And in fact, the assistant there disagrees. Andy Vargas didn't keep that alive. And a corner for the Knights where it looked as though
it's fairly hard to tell there, Simon. But again, that's why they're in a better position than you and I.
The Knights with the corner flicked across Magdic. Townsend, a chance here, and Roganovic had to hold it. Colosimo was lurking.
And as the ball comes in, Roganovic got knocked over his head in the first instance, and Townsend back in. But just that massive grab Roganovic has.
It really is hard with the lawnmower markings to determine where the actual goal line is. The assistant had a damn good view of it and called it. Hockless showing some of his touch and class. Sanders was late. This could be the third yellow for the afternoon. There was a sense of carelessness in the challenge.
Yeah, I think you got it there. It was carelessness. I don't think it was malicious. It's more clumsy than anything. It looks to be all right.
Play resumes. Flicked on by Ajdini with vision 2. Wanting to combine with Cannell. Wide there on the right side. Surey. "70 minutes played at Knights Stadium, 0-0 between the Knights and the Cavaliers in round 11. Victorian Premier League football. The ball fed through Magdic, and experience there. Daniel Jones combining with Roganovic.
And Colosimo's bringing himself into this game a lot more as he's found Skara, Zahra on the right hand side, and Magdic just unable to beat the defender to the ball there.
Skara, end-to-end action. Fleming. Here's Hockless. Wales. Medjedovic. Vargas. This is what Green Gully need to see more of him doing in this second half. Hockless, and nearly the perfect ball. Jones finding an opening through the back four.
And that's the vision that Hockless brings to the match. And again, finding Ryan Ollerton on the right hand side.
Ollerton's cross. Chance here for Wales. Should he control it? Charge down. His shot on the turn. Ollerton. And now the Knights are through. Great run this from Zahra. Has Ajdini wide. And the pass yet again not finding its target.
He's done all the hard work there, Simon. He's got past the first defender, skipped past the second, and then that ball just cut out by, I think, Vargas at the back.
He certainly poses issues in midfield for Green Gully. Adrian Zahra, plenty of pace, and he exploited it to his full advantage there on the counter through Ollerton. It certainly is a tactic, this from the Knights, the long ball. We've seen plenty of those from Rocco, and this time it does find Ajdini. Townson through one. Sanders will need to go solo. No one up front, but now there's a run from Munoz if Sanders spots it. He does. Munoz, the opening is there, and Sanders has created something from nothing to assist Jonathan Munoz.
And he has. Sanders, he's done well to keep his feet. He's held the ball long enough for Munoz to get in that position on the left-hand side of the box, and Munoz, as calm as you like, just slots it past Loncaric.
And it's the second consecutive week where Jonathan Munoz has scored. He did so against Heidelberg last week, and he's found his name on the scorer sheet this afternoon. Jonathan Munoz, and it's taken 73 minutes, but finally the deadlock is broken here at Knights Stadium, and the majority of the spectators won't be pleased with it, but it's the Melbourne Knights 0, Green Gully 1.
Yes, Simon, I'm pretty sure Paul Harris will be ecstatic about that. Again, he's not had too much of the possession for his Green Gully team, but again, you only need to capitalise on a couple of those chances and really take one, and that's what they've done. And Knights, it's one thing Knights have failed to do, is capitalise on those chances.
And Mathew Sanders for a moment there didn't know whether he saw the run of Jonathan Munoz. It looked as though he had to go up solo, and Munoz came from nowhere to assist, and what an assist it was. Finishing past Loncaric. And Green Gully going through a spell at the moment where they're struggling to win. Plenty of draws or losses, but no 3 points in the bank account the last couple of rounds. The challenge will be on to see whether they can hold on to this lead. Townson nearly controlled at the pressure there from Daniel Jones. It's a throw deep for the Knights.
As Bran sent it through. And again, Townson just not able to get in front of the defender.
The ball whipped in, cleared there by Burton. Surey thought about having a crack. Cleared by the Cavaliers.
It's a big test for the Cavaliers, Simon. Again, like you've said, they've been in position a few times and unable to see out the 3 points.
And so too for the Knights. They've been in plenty of positions like this all season, where they've taken the advantage and have conceded late. Ollerton. And Green Gully now holding a 1-0 advantage away to the Melbourne Knights. And with just under 20 minutes to hold on to this lead. And what a win it would be should they be able to hold on against their Cross River rivals. Only the Maribyrnong River separating Green Gully Stadium from Knight Stadium, a short distance apart.
And Wales just tried to bend his run there, but I think the assistant got that one spot on. Just didn't hold it off long enough.
Townson playing the foil. No one there behind. Sanders, hasn't he come to life in the last 5 minutes? Rewarded with that assist to Munoz. Fleming. Just over 15 minutes remaining here at Knight Stadium. And it's the Knights in what is a huge round for the club, reflecting on their 2 championships, national championships, which they won in the NSL. All the greats, the players are back. And the Knights will be looking to restore some pride on the scoreboard. They've got just over 15 minutes to do so. Trailing Green Gully by a goal to nil. If you're just streaming in, it was Jonathan Munoz in the 73rd minute. Wales. The flag down for Sanders. Sanders looking to make it 2. Munoz's cross. No target in the box. Surey, he's been everywhere this evening. Smart piece of play there from Adrian Zahra. And the only element of his game that's not let him down, but the bulk of the players too, their passing to find fellow teammates hasn't been exact, to say the least.
I think that's putting it polite, Simon. I think Ivan Duzel and Paul Magdic will be absolutely livid, to put it politely.
And we have it on good word that Ivan Duzel wasn't managing this afternoon. He's getting ready for the championship reunion match, contrary to the fact that it had nothing to do with last night's gala reunion ball. And across the face of goal, Andy Vargas. A golden chance to extend the Cavaliers' lead.
And as the ball comes through again, there's not too many Green Gully midfielders pushing forward. I think staying back to protect this lead, as we see Ajdini being taken off. And I think going for a little bit more firepower up front. I think Jacob Colosimo. Actually, sorry, it's Mathew Verbeek. Nope, I was right the first time, Simon. It's Jacob Colosimo.
It is Colosimo coming on for Ajdini. And what about the 2 substitutions that Paul Harris made? Graham Hockless, as the ball comes in. Fleming guiding that out, Loncaric. Graham Hockless and Gary Wales have certainly brought some spark back into the Green Gully forward structure.
Well, there's been 2 things missing before they come on from the game in general, and that's vision and genuine pace, other than maybe the man on the ball at the moment, Zahra. And to bring vision and pace on together at this late stage for Green Gully, it's paid dividends for Paul Harris.
And he's still got Michael Anderson sitting on the bench. Paul Harris at his disposal, another talented youngster. He definitely has a bright future with the Cavaliers. Bran. Just over 10 minutes remaining scores 1-0 in favour to Green Gully, the visitors. And yet again a long ball from Rocco. Too deep for the new substitute, Colosimo. And that's Jacob Colosimo, because we also have Antony on the pitch too for the Knights. Munoz. Unable to keep that in.
Probably not the right idea, given the fact that they're protecting the lead now. Munoz would have been very smart to hold that in the corner and wait for the help to come to him, rather than feeding it 30 yards back and taking the risk of putting out of play.
Well, time now a premium for the Melbourne Knights. And Paul Harris looking to his bench again, and that man, Michael Anderson, looks like he's coming on. And he will. And Mathew Sanders will be coming off. Sanders, despite being quiet at times, did what he had to do, and that was assist Munoz. Snatch possession back from the Knights to set up that goal.
Yeah, he'll be unhappy he didn't get on the score sheet himself, Sanders, but did the next best thing and has basically set up and done all the hard work for what could be the winning goal.
Anderson getting his first touch. One-on-one with Zahra, and Zahra did well. Surey. And time now a premium for the Knights. Anthony Bran. They can ill afford to throw possession back and forth. Just looking for that opening, the Knights. Green Gully starting to close things down. Rocco. And a lucky deflection there as the Knights go forward. Colosimo and Ollerton, not the best of clearances. An open goal loomed. And what were the Green Gully defence thinking there, Liam?
I have no idea. Probably a miscommunication there, Simon. And yep, Roganovic was coming out to get the ball, but obviously didn't make himself heard. But again, just not able to pounce on the chance, Melbourne Knights.
Well, a rare mistake from Roganovic. Not chatting there to Ollerton, clearly. And luckily for the both of them, the mistake didn't cost the Cavaliers the ultimate price. Fleming. Nice touch there from Anderson. That man again, Adrian Zahra, has been everywhere for the Knights too this afternoon. Townson. Showed a bit in the first half. Just hasn't been as lively in the second.
I think it must be noted as well, the two of the substitutions for Green Gully. It's a fairly brave move to have your two sets of fresh legs playing both up front when you're protecting the lead. It's a very brave decision, and if they win the match, it'll be a cracking decision. If they lose it, that's what will get blamed, no doubt, Simon.
Well, it'll be a masterstroke from Paul Harris. Certainly been the changing point, particularly that double substitution, bringing back some life and legs into the Green Gully forward structure. But it's not yet a masterstroke, Liam, because there's just under 10 minutes remaining and plenty of time for the Knights to creep their way back into this contest. But questions are, where will this goal come from? Every attack either hasn't found a target or has been thwarted by Green Gully. Worked forward there by Zahra. Surey, a chance here, Colosimo, and that's what the Knights needed. A piece of magic. Jacob Colosimo swooped onto that.
He did, and again coming through from the middle from Zahra. He's been absolutely everywhere, as you've said, and great strike. I think he's done everything he possibly could there. I don't think he could have put it anywhere else. Happy just to get a foot wrapped around that, and Roganovic equal to the task. He's definitely stung the palms of Roganovic and let him know his game's not over.
And luckily for Roganovic, he was standing on the right spot on his line. Anywhere else, there definitely would have been some work made for him. Magdic. Rocco. And another promising build-up. Going to waste there. The 1-2 between Zahra and Colosimo didn't pay off. Hamilton. Anderson going in. Had been illegal. Colosimo, and this time finds Zahra. Zahra can use Colosimo wide again and does. This time the cross finds its target. Jones didn't know much about it. Cleared it for a corner.
And they'll be upset. Hockless diving in there. He knows better than that. With Zahra just popping it out to the left and setting up for Colosimo's cross. And to the other Colosimo, to Jacob Colosimo, sorry.
The Knights with the corner, looking to find themselves a lifeline back in this contest, not to beat Roganovic there. 1-1 with Townson. And not happy with that, Zahra. The assistant adamant. It came off him. And won't Green Gully be a shattered unit should they concede late again? It happened to them last week against Heidelberg at the death. And now the challenge is to learn and respond from that. The issue is, can they do it? And the Knights have all the work to do in the last 5 minutes of this contest. And a corner awarded for Green Gully.
This is exactly what they want, Simon. Just to take their time, work it in the corner, and just basically waste as much time as possible. I think he's actually given the throw in here.
Hockless. The 1-2 with Vargas. That's class showing itself, and the touch there from Rocco. It was going goal bound. Cleared.
That was a lovely little 1-2 there. And Vargas' final ball, again, not quite up to scratch, but taking the set piece just out in the corner there, I'd be quite happy to.
As you mentioned, Liam, the time and experience there from Vargas and Hockless to hold play up and yet provide an assist into the box. Green Gully doing all they can to milk the clock down. And just an update from you at Olympic Village. Scores remain 1-1 after 35 minutes between Heidelberg United and the Dandenong Thunder. Colosimo. Cannell with the 1-2 and bursting through midfield. Cannell wanted the opening there for Colosimo. Magdic forcing him wide, and the save, Roganovic.
And Cannell, who's been fairly quiet in this second half, just trying to push forward, but well held back there by Mile Magdic. Was Jacob Colosimo and Roganovic to take that easy.
Munoz and Anderson combining. Will be a Cavaliers throw. Time now the enemy of the Melbourne Knights.
And Ryan Filipovic coming on for Antony Colosimo. And I think more of a fresh legs substitution than anything else from Paul Magdic.
And Filipovic slotting into that left wing back position as Green Gully surge forward. Loncaric. And what about the pace there and the run from Gary Wales?
And I think credit to Loncaric here. He knew he wasn't going to get it with his hands, but he's just lifted out the big left leg and taken it off Gary Wales' feet.
And another update from Olympic Village. The Thunder, Dandenong Thunder, clinching the lead moments before half time. They're now leading Heidelberg by 2-1 after 43 minutes. Hockless. Once again, experience showing, milking the clock down.
And this will suit Green Gully to a T. I'll be very happy to do this for the next 5-10 minutes.
Wales. Magdic. And a rash challenge that from Hockless. Now the referee, it will be a card. And good to see all players controlling their temper. There was some certain malice in that.
Hockless certainly came in. And I think, I'm not sure who that's, Magdic's just going in to let Hockless know how he felt. But credit to the referee in keeping it under control.
The Knights. Is there another last roll of the dice to play in this game? The Knights have had all the possession, but have really found it difficult to translate that into chances. What can they do here? Filipovic, his touch. And Roganovic colliding with Townson.
And from the looks of it there, he's whether it was on purpose or not, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say obviously it wasn't, but he just stood right on his arm or his shoulder there, and that looked very painful. That's a full body weight through studs. As Roganovic has thrown out the ball to get himself some attention, and he looks far from comfortable at the moment.
He's certainly in a spot of bother. Medical attention is needed for Nikola Roganovic, and it must have been a stomp on his arm.
I think we'll give the benefit of the doubt to Townson. He's not that type of player. But again, his full body weight just right on Roganovic's. I think it was his arm.
Well, from seeing this on the naked eye in the replay, it looked as though there was no malice from Townson. A collision, but unfortunately for Nikola Roganovic, he's come off second best. Another substitution made by Paul Magdic for the Knights. Damien Gleize coming on, and Liam Cannell, who's been impressive for the Knights this afternoon.
Yeah, but I think importantly, and the reason Paul Magdic has made that change is he was very impressive in the first 60 minutes. This last 20 minutes, he's been far from involved in the game. The odd appearance.
Well, Paul Harris, Green Gully coach, can't bring on Kyriakos Cheroristodoulou. All three substitutions are made. Roganovic plays it long. Anderson and Wales, the lone targets up front, and it spills to Wales. Wales, can he finish the Knights off? Played it back. Fleming, across goal. Vargas has Hockless on the inside, but uses Olden instead. Olden playing it down the line, and the Knights really can ill afford to cough this up. Only a few minutes remaining in this game. Filipovic. Smart play, getting some space on the inside. Cutting it in. Here's a new substitute, Gleize. Magdic. A patient and steady build up this from the Knights, and it's all undone. Fleming. Possession nearly stolen by Magdic. It wasn't enough. There was a battle there between David and Goliath in height. Anderson and Rocco. Rocco clearing down the line, won by Munoz. Magdic. Here's Zahra. Has Surey central, but opts to play it wide. Bran. This is where the Knights have struggled. Magdic. Played down the line. Burton should guide this out and does.
And quite simply not good enough in the final ball from Melbourne Knights. I think as well to go back to Daniel Rocco. We've had a fair go about him, about his distribution, but his contribution in the air and that high ball coming through from Green Gully can't be understated. He's won 4 or 5 absolutely crucial headers to stop the likes of Gary Wales or Mathew Sanders. getting one-on-one with Loncaric.
Has applied plenty of pressure too, no doubt about that, as the captain, Daniel Rocco, this evening. And full-timer signal, and it's a crucial away victory for the Green Gully Cavaliers here at Knights Stadium.